Hello, Four Star Nation, and
Hang
welcome
on,
to a
guys. I'll be back.
special Sunday edition of the Four Star Sports Show. Thank you to everybody that is tuning in right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, everybody who follows us on Instagram and Twitter as well. Thank you very much from all of us here. Also, happy Mother's Day from each and every one of us here on the Four Star Sports Show. We wouldn't be here without our mothers. Thank you to my mom specifically. I'm sure Aaron and Ray feel the same way for theirs as well. So thank you to all the moms out there, dog moms, mother figures. It doesn't matter. It's all in the same umbrella. We got a great show for you guys tonight. Going to talk a little bit about the FCS football playoffs that are going on right now. Going to talk a little bit about college baseball, college softball going on. Nacscar has now gone throwback race going on right now in Darlington. Martin Truex was winning the last I checked. It's going to be a jam-packed show. Let's get it started. Aaron Smith, Ray McKetta got the Philly connection on with me tonight. Thank you guys for joining me. Aaron, how you been, man?
Oh, I've been great. Busy at work, but had some time to watch some football and baseball, and I've been enjoying myself.
There you go. Ray, you not? Are you lifting anybody tonight, or are you taking a pause?
Yeah, I do plan to, but I'm in the middle of my break right now, so all's well on that front.
All right, good deal. Well, speaking of football, Aaron, didn't get a chance to watch any of the FCS playoffs from yesterday. Of course, we had two games down to the final four of the playoffs. Championship will be next weekend, but we had two. Well, we had one good game. We had one absolute just thrashing.
Yes.
Number one, South Dakota State Jackrabbits taking on the Delaware Blue Hens in game one. Game two saw two great teams in Sam Houston State and James Madison, two absolute thoroughbreds of the FCS for sure. But Aaron, when you look at that game between Sam Houston State and Delaware, exactly, and JMU. Final score was 38-35. I know you and Ray watched that game together yesterday. Give us a little bit of a review of that game.
Okay, so it started out like it was looking like the game before against Delaware and South Dakota State. It was JMU was up 21 points at halftime. And I mean, it was crazy. We were like, "This game's over. I'm done. Let's go get some food." You know, we're done. Right. You know, and then all of a sudden, after halftime, it was a complete shift. You're talking about a moment. You're talking about momentum. That was the definition of it. Like how important momentum is in the game of football or in sports in general. Like, I mean, you saw the shift right there, where all of a sudden, first two quarters, this team couldn't do anything. This team lost all its knowledge on how to even throw the ball. And then all of a sudden, in the second half, you got some Heisman candidate scoring touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. They were down 21 points. And then their defense comes in flames, you know, and starts stealing the ball. If it's not a sack, a fumble return, something crazy. Like the second half of that game, I would have never guessed it.
Yeah.
Like sitting at halftime, I would have never seen that happen. Like, you're talking about coaching there and complete shift of momentum and just changing the game plan, you know, making adjustments. And I think we've talked about that a lot on this show, is how important it is to make adjustments, to shift gears, to make that change. I mean, we talk like that's what Alabama does. That's what Clemson does. And that is exactly what Sam Houston State did.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Sam Houston State, Ray, talk a little bit about just how good this defense is. Because, I mean, everything I've seen and watched and read on this team is they ride on their defense.
Mhm.
Yes, they do, Wes and Aaron. Their defense is scary good, as far as I could say. I think fueled the comeback a little bit was the fact that one of the Sam Houston State people was very paralyzed. In the fact that I think that was motivation for them to keep going with the comeback, and I'm glad that they came through and everything like that. The defense looks really good heading into next Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, going into next Sunday, it's going to be an absolute battle.
Mhm.
The first game of the day was an absolute throttling by the Jackrabbits, and I love that mascot too. By the way, love it.
Yes.
But 33-3 against the Delaware Blue Hens, Joe Flacco's alma mater. When you look at Delaware in this game, they had 45 rush attempts for 68 yards. That's not good.
No.
That comes out to, I believe, like
No.
1.5 yards per carry.
Mhm.
It's not good at all. But when you look at talking about defense, this South Dakota State defense is really, really, really good. This national championship between South Dakota State and Sam Houston State next Sunday on ABC is going to be an absolute battle and a hell of a football game to tune into. If the fans out there really want to get back into watching football again, to get tuned up for you got spring ball going on right now, just ending around the country. When you want to tune in, this is the game to do it. This is going to be a great football game between two defensive teams. But let's not forget, both of these teams can also move the ball really, really well.
Oh yeah. So I want to hit in on South Dakota State a little bit. So I don't know if y'all remember. So we're going to rewind to 2019 before pandemic. Remember that really, really, or I can't say really, really, but really good Minnesota team that we saw that 2019 season?
Oh yeah.
Well, these good old Jackrabbits took them to some overtimes, if I do not, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, if the Jackrabbits defense is stopping the boat, row the boat, then they're good, and this game is going to be something else. It's very hard to pick a winner, but just because of that rewind to the Minnesota game, I have to pick the Jackrabbits for this game.
What about you, Ray?
Well, Sam Houston didn't. This is their first time in the big one since 2012, and I think they're hungry to get another national championship. South Dakota, they better be ready. Ready, Chevy Rabbit. Sam Houston will squash them. Not very easily, but they will get the job done and bring home an Eddie. So.
Yeah.
See, I got to go with South Dakota State. I mean, they're the number one team. Obviously, when you look at Sam Houston State, they're an incredible football team. Defensively, as we've talked about, this is the two best defensive teams in the FCS, no doubt about it. They get to line up. Kind of reminds me a lot of the Alabama LSU national championship a few years back. I'm sure everybody remembers that. I mean, I believe one of the teams didn't cross the 50. So that was LSU, I believe. When you go back and you just look, this is going to be a lot of fun. Next Sunday, ABC, FCS Playoffs, coming down to the final game, the national championship, South Dakota State Jackrabbits, Sam Houston State out of Texas as well. Going to be a great game. Most definitely. Raymond, when you look at the college baseball landscape, can you tell me a more dominant conference than the SEC?
Well, you can think about the ACC right now, or the Big 12. They tied for numbers 2. Because Texas is high up there, all the teams are looking up to the top 5 right now, which most of the top 5 right now is ACC teams. And we are about, I think we're coming up on the final weekend of the season this coming weekend, I do presume. So things are changing, and looking into the conference tournaments is going to be interesting how everything's set up for the postseason in terms of the regionals.
Yes, that's what I was just getting ready to get into. When you look at regionals, I mean, for example, right now I know Arkansas is ranked number 1 in the country. They were losing to Georgia earlier today, and then now there's a chance that they can actually be looking up at Mississippi State in the standings. Just however it may fall. But I mean, let me ask y'all this: do you take much stock into that conference champions or that conference tournament, or I mean, at the end of the day, Omaha is all that matters? Aaron, go ahead.
Oh gosh, I think Omaha is automatic. Like this SEC conference right now is dominant in baseball. Like it is crazy, and it's like, how is Omaha going to reject Vanderbilt? Going to reject Ole Miss? Going to reject Arkansas? How are they going to reject all these teams? Like I see them all going regardless of how. I don't know where the tournament is, but I think it's in somewhere in Alabama, like Hoover, Alabama, or something.
Hoover,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
in Hoover.
It's in Hoover. Yeah.
Hoover, yeah. I feel like this year for the SEC, Hoover gives middle of the pack teams a chance to try to fight their way into Omaha. Well, so I mean that gives that below 500, let's just say Tennessee or Alabama team, or whichever. And
Georgia,
sorry
for example.
for using that as an example, but it's like they're there. They're not bad, but they're not like they're like in the middle. So it gives them that chance to maybe they can make adjustments in Hoover and be like, okay, let's win. And then before we know it, they could be winning games. Who knows? And then make it to Omaha. But most definitely, you're going to see Vanderbilt in there. You're going to see Arkansas. You're going to see all these ranked teams. Mississippi State, you said, was like they're ranked high too, and they may leap Arkansas or whatever after losing to Georgia like this. But just like yeah, you have to you can't overlook anybody because Georgia's a middle of the pack team as well, and look what they did to Arkansas, the number 1 team in the country. So it's like you got to be ready for every opponent, every game, and I feel like Hoover, Alabama, 2021 is going to be very, very interesting.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, you just look around the SEC right now. You've got number 4 Mississippi State in a battle in the bottom of the 11th with South Carolina. South Carolina is number 19 team in the country. I mean, you look at East Carolina is really good. Charlotte's got a good baseball program. Texas A&M knocks off Ole Miss today. Tennessee beat Missouri. Tennessee's a top 10 team. TCU and Texas have had a great series this weekend against each other. Texas got a win today. Southern Miss is in the top 25. And by the way, Arkansas came back and won 5-3 today. You just look around college baseball, and I absolutely love it every year because who the heck would have thought Southern Miss would be a top 25 baseball team at the beginning of the year? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just I love it.
Nobody would have thought that.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I love the parody of it. I love that there's the non-power 5 or the underdog really can make a run. Ray, what about you when it comes to college baseball?
Oh, you're cutting in and out, bud.
Yeah. Honestly, the same thing goes with college softball. I mean, you look at you look at the Lady Arkansas Razorback team. They're like what 38-2 or something. I mean, they're insanely good. I mean, you look every year. You're going to have Alabama's going to be really good in softball. Oklahoma's going to be solid. You're going to go out west, and you're going to have the UCLA's, the USC's. I can just keep going on and on. I mean, Oregon's always pretty good. Arizona State's always talented in softball. I mean, I love the parody of it. And when you look at it this particular season, you've got teams that you wouldn't typically see making a big run or making that top 25 run. And that's happening this year. And it's just a blast to watch. It really is. All these conference tournaments coming up are going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean Arkansas they're regular season SEC champs in softball right now.
Yeah. I mean, well, and I mean, speaking of the Lady Backs are 40-8. They finished the season. Yeah, they finished the season as co-SEC champions with Florida.
Oh wow!
The Hogs still have not lost a single series all year. Single series, like that is crazy to me. That is extremely talented. Thank you to everybody watching. Comment on our post right now. Talking a little bit about college baseball, college softball around the country. John Servant said ECU will find a way to lose in regionals. They aren't as good as we thought. Conference USA has 4 teams in the top 25. Good point. But I mean, 4 teams in the top 25 is still, that's a pretty good conference. I feel like.
Yes.
I mean, you got 4. There's only 25. If you got 4 of them, and you're the little bitty CUSA, I'll take that as a, I mean, that's I'll take it. Or not, CUSA, the American, whatever they may be in. You're not in the Power 5. But I mean, and once again, I love West Coast teams. I just never watch West Coast teams. I mean, that's one thing is those teams on the West Coast, that Cal State Fullerton team a few years back was really, really, really good at baseball. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Well, I mean,
same thing with softball.
Oregon State. I mean, they were really good too, but no one really could see them much because they were over there.
Exactly. Most definitely. Ray, give me a team when you look at Omaha, and Aaron, I'll ask you the same question. Give me a team on the college baseball side of it, and give me a team on the college softball side of it that will be a surprise come Omaha and come Oklahoma City for the baseball and softball national championship.
All right, so I'll start off with the baseball side of things. The SEC with their dominance, it is going to be a fight to the top with at least 3 teams going to Omaha. I feel that Arkansas has a really good chance of winning it all in Omaha. However, my sleeper has to be a team from the ACC. I've been looking at this team for quite a while. Pittsburgh. And how they are in the top 25, but I feel if they can find a way to get into Omaha, they can really make some noise.
Yeah. Completely agree. Christian Johnson's coming on now as well. I completely agree. Give me a softball team, right? Give me a softball team that you think or are you picking Arkansas again in the softball side of it?
Well, Arkansas is not my main choice here in softball because of the fact that Alabama has been doing lights out for the past few series here. I feel that they're going to be hungry. They'll be looking for their first national championship since 2012, and I feel that Alabama may be the team to beat in Oklahoma City. But don't count Oklahoma out. Don't count Arkansas, because Arkansas is good too. They're my sleeper team in Oklahoma City. If they can somehow find a way to go through the toughest teams like UCLA, for example, or Oklahoma or Alabama, they can certainly win the national championship this year. I wish you all the best.
Yeah. Christian, welcome to the show. Talking a little college baseball and college softball. Just give me your surprise team for Omaha and for Oklahoma City when it comes to the college baseball and college softball landscape.
Well, like y'all said earlier, the SEC is by far the best conference in baseball. So it's going to be hard for me to envision a non-SEC team winning. That's just where we're at in college baseball. That doesn't mean they can't. Obviously, there's going to be some good teams. There's some good teams in the Big 12. I know TCU, Texas, teams like that can definitely make a run. There's good teams out there that aren't in the SEC. Don't take that away. Can't take that away from them. But like you said, I think the SEC is the best conference. And as far as a sleeper team, I think Tennessee is better than people think. I think they're a lot better. They've gotten a lot better under Vitello. And I know Arkansas has a big series with them next weekend. And that will say a lot about that team, as well as Arkansas, who still hasn't lost an SEC series. But, I've said this all year. Vanderbilt, to me, they're not necessarily the best hitting team, but they're good enough to get the job done. But when you have two like ace pitchers like they do, you don't really necessarily have to have a great offensive game. But I think Vandy still, and then Mississippi State, they're starting to play good baseball. I know Arkansas swept them earlier in the year, but that's been a while. So I think they're a much different team. You got Ole Miss. Geez, I can go down the list. And like Aaron said, Alabama's better than their record. I think Georgia played Arkansas very tough. Georgia actually beat Vandy 2-1 earlier in the season.
Oh, wow.
Really could have swept them, and Arkansas had to fight tooth and nail to win that series against Georgia. So, I think Arkansas is in good shape to make a huge run and obviously get to Omaha, but I do have concerns with some of their starting pitching. But I know I'll say this, Wicklander has emerged as the number one. I think he's without a doubt the number one. After him, it gets a little shaky. But like I just was saying, the pitching, the back end with Kevin Kopps is really dominant. If he's on the mound when Arkansas has a lead with him on the mound, it's pretty much a done deal at this point. And then on to softball, Alabama's, in my mind, is still the cream of the crop in the SEC. Arkansas is having a great year, but they lost a series to them earlier this year. Tough series. And then Florida is actually co-SEC champ with Arkansas. They beat A&M today. They came back to beat A&M. If A&M would have won that game, Arkansas would have been outright champ. So, that all don't really matter. In the long run, it's about it's about getting to, the World Series. And then Oklahoma, man, I think they're the best team in the country. I do. I think Oklahoma's the best softball team in the country. And they're the team to beat. All right.
Oh, I completely agree. That's what I was just getting ready to say. I mean, yes, I think when you look at the college baseball and college softball and college football landscape, for that matter, the SEC is definitely in the conversation for the top conference. But when you look at softball and baseball, there's a little more parity, as we've talked about. But I completely agree. I think Oklahoma is by far the best softball team in the country. I think Alabama is creeping right there behind them. Arkansas is right there behind them. Michigan is another team. As we had a comment, Michigan is another team that people need to look out for when it comes to softball. But yeah, baseball on the baseball front, it's so much fun to watch quality baseball being coached. Just to shout out a guy like Dave Van Horn at Arkansas, for example. Man, just watching him, just how he maneuvers his pitchers, maneuvers his offense, makes his moves when he makes them. He's very calculated. For example, today, the starting pitcher's on the mound. He sends the pitching coach out to him first. Everybody knows once the pitching coach comes out, the next guy comes out, it's going to be the manager. Dave Van Horn has a quick hook, but at first I didn't like that, but now I do. Now I like that Dave Van Horn's got a quick hook because he knows what he's got in that bullpen, and that is some flamethrowers. When you look at the Arkansas bullpen, I think that's what makes Arkansas, in my opinion, the team to beat in Omaha. I honestly believe their pitching makes them, no matter if they have a hot bat night or not, very similar to Vanderbilt, like you were talking about, Christian. Their pitching can make it to where you can have an off night batting and still be a great baseball team. It's very, very, very fun to watch. Very, very fun to watch. When you look at Omaha and you look at Oklahoma City, where the softball is being played, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very exciting. There's some really good baseball and softball teams out there. When you look at Arkansas on the softball side of it, as you alluded to earlier, they're 40-8, which is just an insane record to me. To win 40, they've won 40 softball games in one season. That's very impressive. But like we said, I think Oklahoma is probably the team to beat. But that Arkansas softball team is definitely one to look out for. I would love to see an Arkansas-Oklahoma national championship. I think that would be a hell of a series. That would be awesome to see. When you look at Nacscar, they're doing something a little bit different this weekend, guys. They're going throwback with their paint schemes, with some of their tires that they're using. The looks of the tires are a little bit different as well. Currently, right now, you've got Martin Truex was leading last I checked. Yes, Martin Truex is still leading. They are on roughly lap 50 of stage 3 of 108, and that'll be the end of the Darlington race for today. It's over on Fox Sports 1 right now if y'all want to jump over there and catch it. I really enjoy the fact that they're doing this throwback paint scheme look. I think it keeps a lot of the older fans engaged, and it also gives them a chance to also honor the legends of NASCAR at the same time. When you look at NASCAR, Raymond, of course, Watkins Glen is a very popular track up there in the New York area. Talk a little bit about racing in the Northeast. I really, I guess, never, most of the times when you think of NASCAR, you think Southern sport, good old boys running moonshine. That's how I got started. Talk a little bit about NASCAR in the Northeast and its popularity.
Yeah, so we have 3 racetracks in the Northeast that are NASCAR. Watkins Glen, one of them, as you mentioned. We have another one, which is Pocono Raceway, and then we have another, which is Dover Raceway. So all three of those have NASCAR races at one time during the year, and it's quite a popular thing up for people in the Northeast to experience what NASCAR is all about. It's not just a Southern state thing. It's not just a California thing or an Alabama thing with Talladega, but three tracks within about 3 hour drive of each other. I think the furthest is Watkins Glen for me, but Dover and Pocono are not that far either. So all three are very good tracks to go to if you're living in the Northeast, especially in the Philadelphia area, and like to experience a NASCAR race. You have three good options there.
Yeah, and you know, it's also there's some history at all three of those tracks,
There
for
is.
sure. But yeah, when you look at NASCAR, man, it's I'm really glad that they've made some changes in the last few years that were not very popular amongst their fans, but I think that they are learning now that they're kind of getting a new breed of fans in on their sport. And there's some different drivers. I love the iRacing series that they do every week at the tracks before they actually run them in real life. I just think that's very creative, especially with COVID and everything going on. NASCAR's really expanded how they reach their fans and their viewers, and I think it's just absolutely awesome to see from NASCAR. So kudos to NASCAR. Once again, guys, yeah, most definitely. Once again, guys, thank you to everybody watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch right now. All of our supporters, thank you very much. Speaking of our supporters, we have a huge announcement that's going to be made next week on the show. I'm sorry, on the page. It'll also be made on Twitter, all of our social media accounts. Keep a lookout. Big news coming for the Four Star Sports Show. For Four Star Sports Show. We are very excited to make the announcement, get the news out to all of our fans. It's huge. It's huge. But once again, don't want to miss it for sure. But once again, thank you to all the support, all of our fans that we have. We couldn't do this without our fans, and we love each and every one of you. Once again, before we get off here, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. From us, all of us at Four Star Sports Show, we love each and every one of you. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.